Hi, everybody. Let's just break it down. I've held off long enough talking about the return of Nia Jax. She's been back for a couple of months now. I haven't talked about it. Haven't really brought it up. I know there's been people that have not been enthusiastic about her return, but I, for one, being a big fan of who Nia Jax is and just, hey, she's my queen. We all have crushes in our lives. I'm just going to put myself out there and say, hey, you know, I like having her back inside the WWE. Now, this face-up that we had last night, I'm interested to see your guys' take. Are you excited about having this face-off? Are you excited that Becky Lynch is going to be facing Nia Jax, and probably whoever wins this rivalry is going to go on to WrestleMania and face Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship? Women's Championship. Because I, for one, called it from the very get-go that they teased it, that it would be Becky Lynch to be the one to go against Rhea Ripley. Now, whether or not she wins or not, that's a whole nother story. I think them two will put on a phenomenal match. And I would say Nia Jax will put on a pretty good match against Rhea Ripley as well, but they're both heels, so that's not going to work. Well, kind of. Rhea Ripley's kind of a babyface / heel because the fans cannot and will not boo her, myself included. As always, if you like the video, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. But when the irresistible force meets the man inside the squared circle, most likely going to be the Royal Rumble, who you got? Because let's be honest, I think a career is on the line here. And what I mean by that is hear me out, is that since her return, Becky Lynch has not been the same Becky Lynch that she was before she had to relinquish the title to eventually welcome in a beautiful baby girl. And some of it may be because she came back and she became a heel instantly that nobody wanted to support her as a heel. Nobody was feeling the big-time Beck's heel. They wanted the man Becky Lynch. And since then, her return has been she's kind of in limbo in a little bit. She got to spend time as NXT Women's Champion. They have kept her in the limelight. I can definitely see where her star, her shine has kind of faded to some of the newer talents, such as a Rhea Ripley, such as a Bianca Belair, such as, when she returns, even a Liv Morgan. Becky Lynch is still a star. Don't take what I'm saying as she's washed up, she's done, she's not anything, because she's not any of those things. But you can see the shift inside the WWE to an extent that the newer talent is finally starting to associate and get over with the fans, that certain people are taking the spots that Charlotte once held, that Becky once held, and they're starting to assert themselves into the main light. Now, as far as Nia Jax goes, since her return, definitely caused a bunch of waves, definitely caused some people to talk. And on the flip side, she has not been booked as well as I would have hoped or thought. It just seems like fans are not letting go of the past of where injuries would happen. And a lot of them injuries that had happened in the ring, I still don't believe was her fault till this day. Not all of them, some of them probably. I think Nia Jax is what you would call the King Kong Bundy of the women's division. And what I mean by that is anyone who's watched documentaries, watched older wrestlers talk about being in the ring with old Bundy himself, he was a stiff worker. I mean, when he kicked you, he kicked you. His coordination wasn't exactly there. He didn't know his own strength. You know, listen to Hulk Hogan talk that he kind of dreaded going against old King Kong Bundy because you just knew you was in for a fight. And I feel like that's what Nia Jax brings to the table, because she is such a giant inside the women's division compared to the other women, that it does make it kind of hard to work with her at times. That the move set that relates to her character is a little rougher and tougher and grittier than what a lot of the finessing that you see inside the women's division. But those are like a Becky Lynch, who is a rough, tough fighter. It works. Those like a Rhea Ripley, it would work if one or the other was going to go full-blown babyface. And Nia Jax is a phenomenal heel. Now, I see Becky Lynch is going to win this. What I'm worried about is, how can you justify having Becky Lynch lose? Because I think it would hurt Becky Lynch if she loses this match. This rivalry, however long this goes on. On Nia Jax's return, she needs a big-time win. She needs a big-time victory. Not a victory over Zoe Starks, who is, I still have not really got behind. Not over a Raquel Rodriguez, which make Raquel a heel. What are we doing with the baby? Make her a heel. She was so good as a heel. And not over Shayna Baszler, because Shayna Baszler has been, I've already had a video on it. She's been so damaged and so pushed down on the roster that, man, they've ruined Shayna Baszler. The best thing that happened to Shayna Baszler is she has to disappear for a little while. Pure and simple. The women's division is right there on the brink of being what it was in the revolutionary times. The women's revolution. It's there. It's there. There's a lot of big names. There's a lot of faces there that it could really assert itself if pushed in the direction. And quite honestly, I don't know if this could be a main event, but this is a main event type of match. Because these two have good chemistry with each other. I just think it's going to be a good match because of what's on the line for me. Maybe not for you guys, but for me. You have the Irresistible Force versus the Man. It's in the title. You could really market that really well with WWE fans or any wrestling fan that knows any of these know these two, and any wrestling fan knows who these two are. It's just nice to see Becky Lynch get put into a feud that's going to keep her in the main light, other than just putting her in the War Games match that felt kind of awkward. To put it nicely, it wasn't expected. Instead of having to go on NXT and take the title belt off of Tiffany Stratton, which I still don't know if it was the right move to do or not, especially when you got Jade Cargill right looming in the background somewhere. That I thought for sure we would get Becky Lynch versus Jade Cargill, which would be a phenomenal match. Jade's probably going to return at the Royal Rumble and win it, by the way. That's where we're going to see Jade at. And I promise you she's going to win. Now, who she goes after, that's a whole different ballgame. But we shall see. Time will tell.